Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Ricardo Blackman, and it gives me an abundance of pleasure this morning to welcome you to today's press conference of the Barbados Labour Party, at which we will be announcing plans for the upcoming 85th annual conference, which takes place at the Christchurch Foundation on the 18th of this month. That's this coming weekend. It's with equal pleasure that I present to you our panel of speakers for this morning's press conference. Seated at the center is our conference chairman, Comrade Wilfred Abrams. He's, in addition to being our chairman, of course, he's the parliamentary representative for Christchurch East. On my immediate right is Comrade Reginald Farley, party chairman, former MP for Christchurch East, and president of the Senate. On Mr. Abrams' right is Senator Comrade Patricia Paris, who is the CEO of the Barbados Labour Party. And at extreme right is Comrade Antoine Williams, of the party's PRO. Now, in terms of the speaking order, we'll open with the annual conference chairman, Comrade Wilfred Abrams, and then we'll hear from Comrade Reginald Farley, and then Comrade Patricia Paris, and then Comrade Antoine Williams in that order. They will be dealing with specific aspects of the conference. Well, first, to get the ball rolling, we'll hear from Comrade Wilfred Abrams, who is our annual conference chairman.
Good morning, everyone. Let me make sure you can actually hear me. Good morning, everyone. I am very pleased to welcome you all in advance to our conference, which is going to be held at the Christchurch. Okay, welcome and good morning, take 3. Good morning, everyone. It is my distinct pleasure to welcome you all in advance to the annual conference of the Barbados Labour Party being held at the Christchurch Foundation School over this coming weekend from Friday, the 18th, until Sunday, the 20th. The theme of this year's conference is Achieving Against the Odds. We have a packed agenda in store, a lot of exciting events associated with the conference, and we're just pleased to invite you to Christchurch. While I happen to be the chairperson of the conference, and I'm from Christchurch East, there are 5 constituencies represented by Christchurch, and you're effectively being hosted by all of the constituencies. So I encourage everybody to come out and support your Christchurch branches, come out and support your favorite MPs, come out and participate in the business of our conference. It is all inclusive. No one will be excluded from our conference. Just to give you a brief rundown of what is in store for you this weekend. On Friday, we commence with the cocktail reception and the award ceremony. You'll be entertained by the Christchurch Foundation School's Steel Orchestra during the cocktail segment. And we're going to have the normal awards that are given out every year to recognize contributions in the constituency, recognize things of national import, and certain special awards. One of the key features of the award ceremony this year is actually our guest speaker. We will be blessed to have as our guest speaker His Excellency Dr. Mohammed Irfan Ali, the President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. We invited him and he kindly consented to appear, and since that news has come out, there's been a lot of interest generated because everybody wants to hear him speak. They want to hear what's going on in Guyana. They want to hear from perhaps the fastest growing economy in the world. So we're blessed and pleased to be able to announce that he will be the featured speaker on Friday night. On Saturday now, we have the normal business of the party. We received the reports from the various committees. There'll be entertainment as well. And then the eagerly anticipated part of Saturday is always the address by the political leader and Prime Minister of Barbados, the Honorable Mia Amor Motley. She will address us all on I don't want to give away time. Should I give away time? She will address us all in the afternoon on Saturday. It will be streamed, right? But I encourage you to come out and hear for yourselves what she has to say. There's always a lot of interest generated by the presentation of the political leader. It's a lot of fodder for the news. People want to hear what is in store for Barbados and what her opinions are as to where exactly we are and how we've managed to achieve against the odds. Now, not to let the cat out of the bag, but the theme achieving against the odds is predicated on the fact that when we came to government, we faced what appeared for most to be an insurmountable challenge. We had issues with our economy, numerous downgrades, nobody wanted to lend us money. We had the obvious issues with the sewage on the south coast and Bridgetown the Bridgetown plant almost about to collapse. We had issues with foreign exchange reserves. We had no buses, we have no trucks. The litany of woes you all know, you all appreciate. While we are not out of the woods entirely, we have made significant strides. We have probably done more in the span of time since we came to government initially in 2018 than perhaps any other government did in a 5 or 6 year span. So we have a lot to be proud of, and we want to contextualize it, how far we've come, what we have left to do, and what our plans are to achieve and address some of the issues that you may actually have, and to take Barbados even further forward. After the Prime Minister's address, we're then going to have the much anticipated finals of the karaoke competition. I'm sure that a lot of you have seen the karaoke on social media, and we're going to have 15 finalists coming to challenge. What?
You're right.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
We're going to have 15 finalists coming to challenge the current champion, but that will be gone into detail by Comrade Antoine, who will actually sell that one there properly. I will say I am perhaps looking forward to that like you cannot believe. So, come out, enjoy yourself. On Sunday, we have the Thanksgiving service and worship. After that, we're going to have some other awards, and then we're going to get down to the business of the party. One of the key things that takes the party forward and sets its direction and provides policy direction to government as well are the resolutions that come out of the party, where persons put forward things of concern, and the general body, which is the highest decision-making body in the party, then makes decisions as to where we go, what we do, how we address, what are the priorities of the party for the next year. So there's a lot in store for you at the conference. Others will go into greater detail on it, but I will finish as I started and say welcome in advance to Christchurch for our conference, and this one promises to be spectacular.
Thank you very much, Comrade Wilfred, for that very comprehensive. Thank you for that very comprehensive overview of the conference. Before proceeding to invite Comrade Reginald Farley to address us, I just wanted to acknowledge the presence of the President of the Women's League, Mrs. Wendy Knight Hunt, and also the President of the League of Young Socialists, Ms. Roshana Trim. Comrade Farley, he is going to highlight certain features of the party's post-2018 report card, in addition to reflecting on the great legacy of the Barbados Labour Party. Comrade Reginald Farley.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this historic 111 Roebuck Street, the home of the Barbados Labour Party for many, many years. Just to set some context, this is now the 85th annual conference of the Barbados Labour Party. We've completed our 85th year, so we started our 86th year of life as a party. That is a signal achievement. We're the oldest political party in the English-speaking Caribbean, but let me declare that we're not subject to the vagaries and vicissitudes of aging which human beings suffer from. We are fighting fit, we are able, we are capable, we have learned from the many years of service to the public, and we look forward to continuing to serve. We believe that our institutions matter. The church, or education institutions, or political parties, or businesses, and we are proud to be part of that legacy of achievement and transformation. Clearly, in order for our institution or any of those institutions of our age or older to continue to survive and thrive, we change with the change in times, was maintaining the core of why we exist. And why do we exist? For the same reasons that we did at the beginning, to transform Barbados. Back then, it was to transform it into a modern democratic society that was socially just, and that still remains the goal. What it looks like will, of course, change with change in times. When this party was formed, remember that Barbados was a place where not everyone could vote. There was an income qualification and several other barriers to voting. So one of the early achievements, for example, of this party in its time as an elected body was to move so we could have, in 1951, the first elections where, by virtue of being 21 years old, you could vote. There was no income qualification, no gender qualification, all of those features that had rendered Barbados relatively undemocratic had been removed. And of course, the party continued its work to transform Barbados. Protection for workers, Protection of Wages Act, the Holidays with Pay Act, and other labor legislation to ensure that working class Barbadians were able to have a proper voice and proper framework that favored them was part of our early goal. And of course, we are pleased that we had the opportunity to help to build out the modern Barbados that some people in this current generation may take for granted. But it was this Barbados Labour Party that started to work on our Deepwater Harbour, that they started to work on our current new general hospital, the Elizabeth Hospital, built what is still Barbados' government headquarters. And we could go through different eras of Barbados Labour Party leadership to show how policy decisions taken by the party, implemented when in government, have resulted in social, economic, and physical transformation of our country. Such is the case as well with expanding the opportunity for education. It is under the Barbados Labour Party that what were considered then the new modern comprehensive schools were built, and providing more opportunities for students to transfer to secondary education. Erdison Teachers College was established. There was a Barbados Development Board, the forerunner of the Barbados Tourism Authority, Industrial Development Corporation, to push economic development, to transform Barbados from what was then almost a purely agrarian society built around sugar to an economy that was able to offer opportunity in manufacturing, tourism, and in the second Labour Party term under Tom Adams, the matter of international business. And such is the ongoing challenge that we will have. That is the challenge of ensuring that in every era, whatever may be the world economic circumstances, that we find those opportunities, transform our society, our economy, and our markets to take advantage in such a manner that we're able to build a better life for our people, which is essentially our motto. Just to remind and set context again that, and to re-emphasize why political parties matter, and this political party in particular matters, the matter of enfranchisement of our people, who were the majority of Barbadians were of a landless class. It should not be forgotten that up to 1946, there was a Located Labourers Act which tied workers on plantations to the plantations. You rented land from the plantation, but if you left that plantation's employment, you could be removed. And the chattel house is really a function of absence of land tenure. And when I was a boy growing up, you could sometimes see the houses dismantled on a Friday, placed on the back of a truck, reassembled on the Saturday, and the folks moving in on the Sunday. Such was the nature, and that was a regular feature of moving around. It wasn't necessarily by choice, but this party, during its time in government, undertook a number of reforms, the most notable of which is the Tenantries Freehold Purchase Act during the Tom Adams era, which allowed Barbadians who had been living sometimes on those rented spots for many, many years, many generations, to purchase their spots at $10 per square foot. So a 5,000 square foot lot costs you $500. And the transformation you see in villages around Barbados, where they're no longer chattel houses precariously perched on coral stone blocks, where you're seeing substantial permanent structures, wall and wood, is really the result of owning the land and being able to put whatever structure you require on it. And that also gave families equity, generational wealth, and such is the nature of why political parties exist, to implement policies to make it good not just for the present generation, but for future generations, because we've had, since 1985, the passing on through the generations of those lands, those properties, in a way that generational wealth can start to be built. We've had, of course, in more recent times, we had the expansion of jobs. The challenge was made about 30,000 jobs. So in Onas's time, he said he would reduce unemployment to negligible proportions, and people said, "Oh, that's 30,000, impossible." But the 30,000 jobs were created. Such is the reasons why government says this. We also had, during that time, the education reform program, known as EduTech. That was a tremendous success. We established a youth entrepreneurship scheme. We had the expansion of the social partnership, started under the Democratic Labour Party, but from 1995, we created a subcommittee of the social partnership. I had the great privilege of chairing that subcommittee for 10 years, and it really strengthened and cemented the democratizing of our governance by having the private sector, the trade unions, and the government meeting. And through the subcommittee, whose mandate was to be the first line of consultation on major social and economic change, many of the subsequent reforms were less contentious and fraught with challenges, because a lot of the arrangements, a lot of the plans were able to be discussed in a tripartite way. So that the fact that tripartism is now a standing feature of governance on the national level in Barbados is really, to a large extent, due to the work that this party did in building on this social partnership, which had its origins as an economic tool to prevent devaluation, given the economic issues in 1991, 92, 93, to sustain it beyond that and to make it something very functional. I remind as well that we look towards building new national consciousness by identifying for the first time in our history 10 national heroes. I believe that was around 1998 or so. We celebrated Emancipation Day that had not been celebrated before. And we also took the opportunity to build permanence by expanding the number of permanent public sector posts during the time of government. In more recent times, since 2018, we could look at it from three perspectives. We had the mission critical phase, then not with any, and that was a plan because in opposition we recognized that there were a number of things that needed to be done urgently in order to rescue, stabilize, and rebuild the Barbados economy. And I'm pleased to report that the 17 mission critical areas that were identified in our manifesto of 2018 were all achieved. And those were responsible for putting us in a position where when the unexpected happened, we were able to go on mission survival. And do not take the point for granted. If we had not stabilized and put a structuring plan in place for the economy from 2018, then COVID struck 2020, and we had to move to mission survival, we would not have had the economic space, we would not have had the capacity to really fight COVID in the way that we did as a country. Of course, having survived that, with leadership and guidance from the government, we moved then to mission transformation. And that is the phase that we're in now. There are a number of areas of the economy and society that we need to transform. And of course, doing that in consultation with the people. What consultation we're talking about? We have, for example, Parish Speaks. For the first time in our history, we have a Prime Minister who goes directly to the people. They're not vetted, they're not screened, you don't have to register. You turn up, you ask any question, raise any concerns, and out of that, we're able to go back and address issues, some of which we did not know about, because Barbadians have a way of taking their problems and they don't necessarily complain. So we don't know. And the Parish Speaks really has had a good record, a track record in terms of issues identified by communities and their resolution. But it also keeps us in touch with the people, because at the end of the day, as a political party, we are only as good as we're able to represent the people who elected us. And we're only able to represent them if we know what their issues are. And we can only know what the issues are by continuous contact. So it's really, as in business, that continuous circle. You know your customers, you get your customer feedback, you adjust and improve your service, and you generate satisfaction. In terms of consultation, we've had the commission, the Constitution Reform Commission, which held extensive consultation in Barbados, in Canada, the UK, and the US. We had as well the Parliamentary Reform Commission to give advice about what kind of parliament our people would want. And we also had the Thorne Commission looking at local governance. There are, of course, there's of course work going on international financing, the British Initiative, looking at how countries, Barbados and countries in our situation can have a better deal internationally. We also have work going on to deal with education reform. Education has always been a bedrock of our society, and we need that to continue. But as the society changes, the world changes, education needs to change and become fit for purpose. And again, that has been undertaken in a consultative manner. We're all familiar with the initiatives to reform state-owned enterprises to make government more efficient and more effective at meeting our needs. And we could go on and on. But I really just wanted to pull those examples of how the party in government has been able to initiate policies and programs to improve our situation. And I'm sure that during the course of the weekend, you will have further examples of specifics of what we have been able to do. But I want to say, though, before I close, I'll put a pause, that the party, at having completed its 85th year, is, like I said, fighting fit and firing in all cylinders. Our organs are working. Our branches, our subsidiary organizations, our affiliate bodies, or our Women's League, very effective. Our League of Young Socialists is working well. Our overseas branches, and I'm pleased to say that in addition to those in the already existence in the UK and the United States, that I was pleased to attend in person in Toronto in April to open an affiliate body there, a branch technically, of the Canada supporters of the Barbados Labour Party, and we look to continue working with them. In terms of a vote of confidence, our members have placed a vote of confidence in the executive. We have a very effective and outstanding party leader, Mayor Mortley, the National Executive, the National Council, and the various organs. At every annual conference, we have elections for chairman, vice chairman, general secretary, and treasurer. And nominations are invited from our branches. It's all a very democratic process. We believe that what we want to practice at the national level, we should first perfect at the parochial level. So we practice great democracy within the Barbados Labour Party at the parochial level, such that it is muscle memory on the national stage in terms of our democracy. So when nominations close, there was a vote of confidence in the executive of the Barbados Labour Party, where all existing officers have been returned unopposed. And that means that Reginald Farley has been returned unopposed as chairman, the Honourable Kirk Humphrey, MP, unopposed as first Vice Chair. The Honourable Marshall Cadell, MP, return as second Vice Chair. Kurt Haynes, return unopposed as third Vice Chair. Our General Secretary, Senator the Most Honourable Jerome Walcott, return unopposed. And our Treasurer, Honourable Davidson Ishmael, MP, return as Treasurer. We think that is a substantial vote of support. We thank our members for the vote of support, and we pledge to continue to work in this party to build on the legacy of those who have gone before. Because if we appear to be standing tall, it is because we are standing on the shoulders of not just the leaders, but the rank and file members across the length and breadth of Barbados who have worked. And in that regard, I want to close by paying tribute to one of our very recently departed. During the course of this week, last week we learned of the passing of Sinclair Howell. Sinclair Howell, senior counsel, a distinguished attorney at law, who served as a senator during the Tom Adams administration, 1981 to 86. He was a parliamentary secretary in the Prime Minister's office, and he also was, during that period, a candidate for the St. Michael South constituency. We want to extend the thanks of the Barbados Labour Party to his family for the time that he served and his ongoing support even beyond active public involvement in politics, and to extend our deepest sympathy on behalf of our party leader, myself as chairman, other members of the executive and the general Barbados Labour Party, sympathy to his dear family. And we, of course, will be there to support them at the funeral service on Friday, October 18th at 3 o'clock at the Christchurch Parish Church. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Corwin Farley, for that very extensive and informative reflection on the contemporary relevance of the great legacy of the Barbados Labour Party. I now have much pleasure in inviting our CEO, Comrade Patricia Paris, to share information in detail on the entire program for our upcoming conference. Comrade Patricia Paris.
Good morning to members of the media. Thank you, Comrade Ricardo, and I extend a welcome to our online viewers as we celebrate our 85th annual conference this weekend, October 18th to 20th. We start on the Friday evening with an awards ceremony at 8 p.m. At this ceremony, we will be recognizing 33 stalwarts, comprising of one from each of our 30 constituency branches, the Women's League, League of Young Socialists, and the UK branch. We will also be recognizing 4 persons for their outstanding contribution to sports, 2 persons who made a contribution to culture, and 1 person will be receiving the Environmental Award. We are also recognizing the contribution of a young person. We're here to talk about our youth, but this year, we have done it over the years, and again this year we are doing it. We are recognizing the outstanding contribution of a young person. We will have awardees or special awards include the Milroy Reese Award, the Chestel Rock, the Ermy Bourne Award, the Chairman's Award, and the highest award of this party, the Grantley Adams Award. On Saturday, we sit down to do the business of this party, and our delegation will comprise of approximately 1,200 delegates. And we will use the morning session, I say, to do the business of the party, and we will get the reports from the various executive parliamentary reports, General Secretary, the Treasurer, and the overseas branches. And included in the delegates this year, we will be having a delegation from our UK branch and our Canada branch. The highlight of the Saturday is the address by the political leader and Prime Minister, Honorable Mia Mottley, and that is at 4:30 p.m. Members of the public are welcome to attend and hear the political leader as she delivers her address. We move to the Saturday after the karaoke competition. We start our final day on the Sunday with worship, and leading us in worship session will be Pastor Lennox Boyce. And after that worship session, the new executive will be introduced. You heard their party chairman said that the officers are elected unopposed, and it is also at that session that we'll be naming our National Council representatives who will be represented. We will have one representative from each of the 30 constituencies. On the Sunday as well, the League of the Young Socialists will be participating in a debating session entitled Buzzing Ahead, and they will be discussing the topic Youth Sustainability and the Barbados Labour Party. Something new that we are, not new, something that we are reintroducing again at our annual conference is giving small businesses the opportunity to sell their items. This year, we will have business owners selling, and these are all clients of the Barbados Trust Fund Limited. And these business owners have received financial assistance from the trust fund. The small business owners also participated in the trust fund Manifest Manufacturing Incubator Program. They benefited from training in manufacturing and quality essentials, marketing and sales, and inventory management, to name a few. We will have on sale over the 2 days by these businesses. We will have confectionery, condiments, wines and spirits, and health and beauty products. The Sunday afternoon, our rank and file is always look forward to discussion in relation to our resolutions. And the constituency branches have submitted a total of 28 resolutions this year. So we are looking forward to the resolutions being some heated debate on the floor as these resolutions are debated. And it is from these resolutions that decisions are made. On entering the gates of Christ Church Foundation School, our guests and members for the entire weekend, because we will be having guests attending the Prime Minister's event. It is open to the public. Members will be greeted warmly from our team of ushers. Great camaraderie can be expected over the 3 days of the 85th Annual Conference of the Barbados Labour Party. We look forward to a productive conference under the theme Achieving Against the Odds. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Comrade Patricia. At this point, I have much pleasure in inviting our PRO, Comrade Antoine Williams, to tell us about the upcoming finals of the karaoke competition and among other features for conference. I had the good fortune of attending the semifinals at Oyston's on Saturday night, and I can tell you that I certainly will not want to miss the finals on Saturday night. Over to you, Antoine.
Just pull to you. Before we start to speak.
Is good there? Okay. All right, thank you very much. Good morning, all. Achieving against the odds, and we take great pride in underscoring that theme. Comrade Wilfred, our conference chair, he would have outlined why it was necessary for us to coin such a theme. So while we talk about the business of the conference, and we recognize obviously the work that has been done by the party, we also speak about the engagement, the fellowship, and all that twinned with elements of entertainment. It's almost to say there's labor and there's refreshment. On Friday, the much talked about karaoke finals promises to be a spectacular affair. 15 contestants will vie for that coveted title. Saturday, sorry. Well, let me go back to Friday, because when we talk about the awards ceremony and the awards ceremony, one of the highlights of this year's conference is the creation of the Red Village. The Red Village is intended to be a space where conference delegates, where the general public who will be attending the conference will have a chance to, let's use the term hang out, to engage, to refresh themselves, and of course to support the various constituencies that will be staging their respective bars. The Red Village is a place where every individual attending conference, post the business of the conference, will certainly want to be there. On Saturday, back to Saturday and the karaoke finals. As I said, 15 contestants who will be vying for a top prize, first prize of $1,500, second prize $750, and the third prize $250, and a challenge trophy. The winner of last year's finals, she will also be competing, and of course, I'm sure she would want to ensure that the trophy is hers as well as the winning prize. But that is left to be seen on Saturday night. And as Comrade Ricky said, the semi-finals and all of the constituencies participating, those semi-finals have really been an entertaining affair, and really some good singing. And I don't know, but I'm glad that I didn't serve as a judge. I can tell you that. Now, on Sunday, mention was made of the League of Young Socialists. We pride ourselves of the excellent work that is offered by the League of Young Socialists, as well as the Women's League, arms within the party. And it's very important to celebrate the youth and the women. Throughout the conference, they will be playing integral roles in various ways. And on Sunday, the League of Young Socialists, as was mentioned by Comrade Pat, will host their own session. And this is where the young people of the party, the young people of our nation, will have a chance to discuss, to debate, to engage. The session themed Buzzing Ahead. Buzzing Ahead, the session is a 45-minute session, and it will look into the BLP's legacy of sustainable governance, broken down in this way. The BLP's ongoing commitment to sustainable governance and how the legacy sets us apart, our vision for the future, what sustainability looks like in the next 10, 20, 30 years, and how we plan to build a resilient Barbados. And most importantly, that presentation will explore the role of young people in crafting this future as decision makers, innovators, and drivers of change. That is definitely one of the highlights, among the many highlights that will be staged on during the weekend. So we have the karaoke finals, we have the Red Village, we have the League of Young Socialists as they participate. Now, on Thursday, tying it all in and setting ourselves ready for what is expected to be an exciting weekend, we are staging our Red Day. This is where we are inviting all of our BLP respondents, all of our supporters, everyone to wear red. We're not stipulating that it be just a shirt. Last year, I believe some women had the red nails. Whatever you want to do to make it creative and, of course, highlight, then wearing red is important. And this is about the nation now. Comrade, our chairman spoke about the vote of confidence. We want the wearing of red to simply say, this is a vote of confidence. In spite of all that has taken place, in spite of the many areas that we are working on, in spite of the challenges that we face as a BLP party and a government, the wearing of red is about celebration, is about the vote of confidence, and it's about Barbados Labour Party working for the people. So those are the highlights, Chair, and I will end here.
Thank you very much, Comrade Antoine. At this point, we will go. Yes, as I was saying, comrades and colleagues, at this point we go into question and answer session. Okay? I crave your indulgence, members of the press. We want to be conference specific. That is, we want you to deal solely with the conference. We can't promise you any sideline interviews at this time. Okay, so the ball is yours.
I'm not sure if you would answer, but it was mentioned that 17 of the mission critical issues were tackled on forward water assessment. I guess the most pressing issues for the court. And some of the ones that are related to discuss.
Well, first of all, not 17, all 17. There were 17 mission critical, so they're all tackled. The agenda, I think, going forward is pretty clear, as already outlined. First of all, in our 2022 manifesto, this is where our priority areas of focus will be, and as updated in annual financial statements and budgetary presentations by the Prime Minister. But let me just cycle to the manifesto for a bit to say that this Barbados Labour Party has a record of using the manifesto not as a marketing document, because there are some parties around the world, and some maybe even here, that create a pretty document, they put it out there, and then they say a manifesto is not a social contract. Our view is that, and our approach is that we take time, a lot of committees, focus groups, experts, explore policy or draft policy, sent up for approval by the senior party leadership, and then form part of the manifesto. Those policy frameworks and research are all kept and they're available so that when ministers are appointed, they benefit from all of that background material to aid with implementation. Of course, to make sure that the cycle of accountability is complete. For every election for the past, many going back, maybe 50 years or so, or more, there is a promises and performance document. And in fact, the 2022 manifesto, ready, which I happen to have here, has on one side a report card, promises kept, caring and delivering, 2018 to 2021. And on the other half of the document, our Barbados, owning our future, Barbados Labour Party Manifesto 2022. So that they're all outlined there, already seek to tackle all the transformative issues which are issues of the day. Education, matters related to our youth, making sure that our social fabric is strengthened, issues of civility, issues of incorporating the non-governmental sector more into our governance. So for the first time, there is a minister responsible for the third sector, Honourable Colin Jordan, Minister of Labour, Social Security, and the third sector, who has the specific mandate to ensure that the government keeps in regular communication with our NGOs of all sorts, in social, environmental, religious, all the various sectors, because NGOs are so important in our society. They allow people with time, talent, and treasure to focus on what is of interest to them, as opposed to a broad brush scattershot. Sometimes all that they need from government is to get out of the way. Sometimes they need government to come into space to create legislation, to provide property, to provide financial support. But it's important for that conversation to be had so that NGOs are enabled to do what they can do in support of the work. The other thing I want to mention, so focusing on letting our NGOs work in the social space especially, you will note that issues of safety and security in our society are, of course, paramount. And I can remind you that in terms of the judicial system and the security forces, that the Barbados Labour Party, in its time in government in this term, has increased the number of judges from 2 assigned to criminal cases to now 8, and given the supporting infrastructure to ensure that our judicial system can work more speedily. There's technological support that is to come to enable the courts to function better. There is full support for the police force, Barbados Defence Force. You've heard the Minister of Education outline that there is in development a national school security plan. It's already in draft, subject to further consultation. So all of the issues that are out there now are plans and programs that really have been already advanced in our manifesto and will form the ongoing work of the program. So in short, continued restructuring of the economy to ensure that we continue to grow. The social sector efforts can only be supported where there is economic growth. So for those people who knock economic growth and say, oh, that's only the economy provides the funding for us to be able to do more in our schools, do more in terms of our continued improvements at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital and in healthcare generally, do more to promote ourselves overseas, and we could go on and on. So a range of activities are there, and they've now been branched under what the Prime Minister calls our Mission Transformation Initiatives. And I believe that there was a full press conference sometime back where the Mission Barbados was launched and spread across a wide set of areas. And I believe that over the weekend, you can expect that the Prime Minister will take the opportunity to expand in more detail, which is why I'm not doing it now, but to say that it is part of our ongoing cycle to indicate what we plan to do, to consult, to report, and also to adjust, because we live in a world as it is, not as it should be. And based on the realities of what are happening out there, the external matters that have influence on us, there are also internal dynamics that may shift as we adjust our program so that we rather be correct than consistent. We don't stick to it just because, oh, this is a wonderful plan we made in 2018. If the current circumstances require change, we face the issues we have, we fix them, and we press on.
Any further questions? Okay. Sure.
Yes, thank you, my brother.
Okay. Well, let me, on behalf of our distinguished panel, and by extension, the Barbados Labour Party, extend thanks and appreciation to members of the press for joining us this morning. We'd also like to acknowledge and thank the representatives of the League of Young Socialists and the Women's League for gracing us with their presence this morning. Thank you very much, and I hope that the rest of the day will be equally as productive as your morning have been, members of the press. Thank you.
Ricardo, finally, see you on the weekend.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Yes, hope to see you at Christ Church Foundation.